Eskay. Okay, here's another northern explorer. This is in British Columbia, in the Golden Triangle. And again, we are drilling right now. Eskay has drills turning. This to emphasize again what I said earlier. You know, when you invest in Crescat, you're investing in a lot of companies that are all aggressively exploring. I'm talking about drilling and drilling and drilling and more drilling. Okay, this is the wonderful thing. There's a lot of opportunity here. So go back to
Let me
the
just
yes.
interject one thing. The important thing to note about just drilling and drilling and drilling in the exploration space is we're not just drilling willy-nilly. We are drilling in some of the choicest properties that through Quentin and the other geologists that are part of this company and the geophysicists have identified that these are the most prospective targets in the world in viable jurisdictions for high grade deposit and big deposits that are highly economic, and that's because of the CSAMT geophysical work that Quentin has talked about, because of the BLEG sampling and other techniques that have come a long way after this 10-year bear market. Just in the last 10 years, that there are a lot of new technologies that people like Quentin and these other geologists know how to put to work to find gold and silver. And the key right now is getting the capital to the companies that have the most prospective deposits based upon this data. And that's what we're doing here.
Yes. And, I'm giving brief summaries here. I'm taking like 5 minutes per company in this case. Look, in reality, there's, 500 hours worth of work behind what you're seeing here. So I'm giving you a very high level summary. Nonetheless, we have a lot of very smart minds at work in each case. Each company has a lot of brain power behind it. So let's go to the slide deck and talk about Eskay. This is very interesting. Right in the middle of the Golden Triangle. In fact, we are right in the middle of the big world-class deposits here. You got Eskay Creek immediately to our north. You got Treaty Creek, the new discovery, to the east, as well as Kerr Sulphurets, Seabridge's big project to the east, as well as Brucejack, which is Pretium's mine, to our east. Okay, we're in a belt immediately south of Eskay Creek mine. It is prospective mainly for VMS, volcanogenic massive sulfide deposits of the Eskay Creek type. We're looking for precious metal-rich sulfide deposits, to be very, very clear. Eskay was a great mine. High grade was 46 gram per ton gold and about 2.1 kilo silver per ton through its mine life. Okay, this is like obscene grade. Okay, and that's the kind of thing we're looking for. All right, go ahead.
Well, there's a backstory here too, Quentin, that you've told before, that one mine at Eskay Creek was a company maker for what today is one of the biggest gold mining companies in the world, and that's Barrick. So we showed the chart of Homestake Mining back in the 1930s. Well, guess which company owned this Eskay Creek mine? It was Homestake Mining. Yes. And it's the whole reason that Barrick bought Homestake Mining.
Correct.
And Quentin knows because he was at Homestake at the time that it happened.
Yep.
And it was a company maker for Barrick. Delivered probably all the profits over a couple of years there.
That's right. It was a hard-fought battle when Homestake took over back in the original battle when Homestake bought out Eskay. But the takeover that Barrick made for Homestake in I think it was year 2000, when the gold market was on its back, it was to gain access to assets like this, ones that were producing gold basically for free. Offset with the silver and other base metal production and stuff. The gold coming out of Eskay Creek was effectively free. That's what helped Barrick meet their hedge commitments, which was just, that's a whole nother story. But they basically mined this deposit to pay off a hedge book. But anyway, it saved their neck is what it did. So sometimes that happens.
So tell us about how you think you've perhaps found the whole extension of that Eskay Creek mine.
Yes, it is. I mean, it's phenomenal. We got probably 85% of the ground that's prospective for more VMS. And you got to bear in mind, VMS systems like to occur in districts and clusters. Okay, VMS, is a few million tons. Middle-sized VMS, we'll call it. Where's the big one? Where's the 10 plus million ton deal? Don't know. Maybe we'll find it. Okay, but we've got most of the prospective ground south of the Eskay Creek belt, and that trough, that old marine trough, the submarine environment where these things formed, is on our ground. Period. There's no question about this. All right, so it's really interesting. Go ahead back to the slide deck, and I'll show people where stuff is. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, you can see all these. The yellow, of course, is our project. Okay, so you can see all the little yellow stars there. Those are the prospects we have scattered more or less in a north-south orientation southward from Eskay Creek Mine. That belt of rock is this old marine volcanic and sedimentary rock that hosts these VMS systems. Right now, we're drilling at TV Jeff, that area right in the middle of the slide. TV Jeff hasn't seen a drill hole for 25 years. It's unbelievable. But our team did some great work. We've got the group from the Colorado School of Mines, Thomas Monarchy and John DeDecker. They know VMS systems. Thomas did his dissertation at Eskay Creek. So, these guys know this stuff inside and out. And they've done a wonderful job modeling and targeting. We've done some great geophysics through our geophysicist, Tom Weiss. He has done an exquisite job of modeling the SkyTem data, the ground-based data like the MT and so forth that we've collected. And we can see clear evidence of sulfide bodies that need to be tested. Okay, now once again, we are going to do we'll call it a Whitman sampler approach here. We're going to poke a couple holes in two of the chocolates this year, but there's going to be a whole box of these suckers next year. Okay, we cannot drill everything this year. We've got maybe a window of another 4 or 5 weeks, something like that, to drill. When winter comes, winter comes. There's nothing you can do about it. But what's wonderful is this TV Jeff area, through doing some, re-logging, reanalyzing of historic data, we did determine it is a VMS system, and we are now drill testing. We're actually drilling some really exciting ground, and that one, that's going to be a fun one. Okay. TV Jeff is one target we're going to test this year. The second one you can actually see down there towards the southern end of the property. It's called Spearhead. The team found in outcrop a VMS that's never seen a drill hole a few weeks ago. It is literally sticking out of the ground. It's kind of recently been exhumed, as the ice melted away or the snow melted away from the glaciers in that area. It is a really interesting target. Again, classic VMS system. It's hosted by mudstone with a volcanic footwall, stockwork zone, feeder to it. You can see it like literally put your hand right on it. So that one's going to be exciting.
It's interesting how the Golden Triangle recently, with its early stages of the bull market in our view, took off. A lot of the names in that region took off significantly. I think Eskay Mining, even though it has performed incredibly well since the beginning of all this, still is lagging a lot of those names. And I think if we can prove how this property, how valuable this property can really be, I think this could be a story that can catch up significantly with those other names.
That's exactly right. And a little bit of, like I said, the Whitman sampler approach. If we poke a couple hole or a few holes in some of these chocolates, a couple of them, and we can show, yes, we've got more VMS systems, it's going to be easier for people to say, oh my gosh, these guys are onto a whole belt here. So just stay tuned on that one. I think you'll see a lot of value unlocked at Eskay. Okay, let's go to the next. Here's a little bit of a model for VMS systems. Of course, these are submarine in origin. The fluids come out of the oceanic crust, and as they do so, they start to cool and mix with seawater, and you form this blister, almost like a giant pimple, if you will, of sulfide. And these sulfide bodies, they form mounds, like a blob. They often have chimneys coming out and stuff. You've probably seen, TV shows that show these underwater features. Anyway, when these get buried up and then protected, they're preserved, and then they get, thrust up onto the continent, they can make wonderful, wonderful ore bodies. And that's what we're targeting. Thank you. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, this simply shows where TV Jeff are. They kind of straddle that boundary between the SIB property, which is in joint venture with Kirkland Lake, We are actively in the joint venture. Kirkland's got 20%. We've got 80%. And then down there at the bottom, you can see where Spearhead is in pink. I just highlighted those so people understand that the TBGF kind of transcends that boundary, the joint venture boundary, and the ground to the south is 100% on. Okay, go to the next slide, please.